everybody, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us this morning. And you can make comments if you're watching through Angel Heart Radio Facebook page, and we love comments. So please come and join us. It is my great pleasure this morning to welcome Maureen St. Germain, a lovely friend of mine and a very learned and wise woman who is doing great things. You've already done fabulous things, Maureen, but oh my, aren't you doing wonderful, wonderful things at the moment, especially in these very interesting times.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. And I'd like to take everyone back to the scenario that when Annette and I first met, because I think it's really powerful and helps drive home a point. And that is, there are times that you meet someone or someone makes introductions and you think, yeah, that sounds good. And then you keep moving on. But then you keep coming back to it. And Annette and I did that. Somebody introduced us. I don't remember now who it was. And we kept saying to each other, we should meet. And then I think we were in Tucson, when you were in Tucson and I was in Tucson, that we actually sat down and had a meal together. But up until then, we'd just been, chatting back and forth. So pay attention to those callings, because, gosh, it's been over 10 years, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yes. Way back in 2009 was the first time. We were both at a hub convention, and fascinating that obviously we didn't do enough to connect at that stage, because we both turned up on a whale experience in Tonga.
Yes, and I get to go again. And that was why couldn't I think of that? You said it right off the top of your head. Tonga is one of the places outside of the Dominican Republic, and then, of course, in the French Polynesia, Tahiti.
Right. Now, I know this is off the topic, but it's very exciting, your whale experience that's coming up in October. Are there still places? Because I know a couple of days ago there were.
Yes.
If people are drawn.
As far as I know, yes, there are 2 places on the October 4th trip, and there are 2 places on the trip the week earlier. So, if you're listening and you're thinking, gosh, I'd really like to do that, jump on and make sure you tell them I sent you. Love to tell people that, it gives them a chance, gives them a little in. And Doug and Trish, who are leading this tour, and that's where Annette and I really connected, these 2 people have swum with the whales every year, and they have a deep connection with the dolphins as well. And they have lived in Hawaii for probably over 20 years, and now they summer in Oregon and spend the winter time in Hawaii. And they have such an incredible connection, and they're the most amazing human beings. They're so much fun to be with, great sense of humor, so much joy in these 2. And they're so much fun to be around. And really down-to-earth people, even though they're very plugged in. And it's a pleasure to spend time with them, much less do it with the whales.
Absolutely. And isn't it interesting, Maureen, how your schedule has changed so that you're able to do it? This leads me into our topic. So often we can think, oh my goodness, why is this happening? And yet when we take another look, we know that we're being cared for, and the universe is really looking after us and making sure that we're where we need to be, even though we think, oh, that's not possible.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, and you're right. I have spent the last 5 or 6 years traveling to Asia, teaching in either Taiwan or Japan or China, and I've made 4 to 6 trips every year for a month at a time. So it's a lot of time in Asia. And I found that I had over 6 trips canceled since this started. And I had a couple of trips to Egypt that were scheduled that
Mm-hmm.
canceled, where I was asked to lead trips and they just got canceled. And so one of the benefits that I have seen is the chance to really slow down.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us have been running around and rushing to help others. So many of you who are watching, you may have had a super busy life, and this has given you a breather. And that's very powerful. Certainly for my part, I had the first thing I did actually was offer a bunch of free classes, and I was astounded at the attendance. I was just trying to, well, here's what I say to people. I have a contract with the universe. I show up and do my part. So just because I couldn't teach in China doesn't mean I couldn't teach. So we opened up a Zoom, a bigger status, so we could take more people. And in our first class, we went over our limit. We had people complaining, what? And so I did a bunch of classes like that. And then I said, people really need a little bit of help. And so then I offered 15 minutes with Maureen. And we set up 4 Thursdays. And I took as many appointments as I could take all day long. And those sold out in like 5 minutes. And I say sold out, but they were free. They were free 15 minutes with me. And someone actually wrote me and says, I can't believe it's been only 10 minutes since this came out and all the slots are gone. And I went, oh my God. So yeah, we opened up a few more later, but I was blown away, and it was a very powerful experience for a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have been able to reach me any other way. They would never have connected with me because maybe I'm out of their reach, or they just don't feel like they could spend that money on themselves. Who knows? But it was a very amazing experience for me as well as for them. I'd almost like to do it again if I can find the time. I have been chock-a-block though, because we started teaching online then, and the classes have been filling. And I did a wonderful meditation, and this is for free. We haven't quite figured out about putting it up online, but we can certainly send you a link if you're interested. Just send me an email, Maureen at Maureen St. Germain, or Kim at Maureen St. Germain. And this is a meditation to clear the energy for the USA, which is in really a lot of trouble right now. And we are focusing on the Goddess of Liberty, the Statue of Liberty, the representative of the Goddess of Liberty, as a way to amplify the energy in the Goddess of Liberty. And there's actually a cube of energy that an individual can go to that in their mind's eye, to the Statue of Liberty, and unpack that cube, and then ignite the flame of illumination in her, and then pass it to themselves, and then let it, expand to everyone around them, and then to everyone around our immediate area and our planet, and all the way out. And it's such an amazing meditation because I did it with graphics and I did it on Zoom. So, it's a wonderful meditation. It's 40 minutes long, but the first 20 minutes are the setup. So once you've listened to the setup, you can go back and replay just the meditation by starting at the 22-minute mark. And we are seeing huge responses. In fact, my blog post that's going to come out August 1st will knock your socks off, because I started having the elementals, the little critters around, stop and address me. And it's the most amazing things I've ever seen. Wild squirrels, wild birds, absolutely amazing. And I know it's the energy we're anchoring in. Yeah.
Now, you're talking about the meditation that you called others to partake in, aren't you?
Yes. And we had, on that call, we had about 1,000, almost 1,300 people sign up to do that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Amazing.
And the fact that it's still available. There's so much good coming out, Maureen. Anea has been saying that she has enjoyed the slower pace and it feels so much more peaceful. I agree with that. People such as yourself who are used to traveling the world and speaking to lots and lots of people are finding other ways of speaking to people. And like you, others are giving free webinars. And so it's such a time of cleansing and healing for those of us on the planet and indeed the planet.
And the generosity that I see everywhere, just wonderful.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate, aren't we?
Well, we are. And that brings me to the point of gratitude, for us to look at what we have, not rather than what might be missing, and to focus on all of the wonderful things that we have. These opportunities, okay, we're maybe not being able to socialize the way we would like to. However, it is a time for us to concentrate on ourselves, because we can tend to get onto that, I call it the wheel, the mouse wheel, and we find, and we don't realize until we stop just how frantic we've been, how busy we've been.
Yeah, I agree. We my husband and I made a commitment that we would do 3 things, and we're going to keep doing it. Hopefully when things start to normalize. And the 3 things we do every day, and we've been doing all these things on a regular basis, but we don't necessarily we weren't doing all 3 every day. And now we are. I mean, every day, it could be 9 o'clock. Oh, we haven't done these 2 things. And the 3 things are: we do a meditation, we do Qigong, and we go for a walk. And it's very soothing because we're very fortunate. We live near a very beautiful park. And when I first saw it, the first time I moved to New York, I lived very near where I'm living now. And I came into this park. And it was before I actually could move into my apartment because the lady who was moving out wasn't done moving out. So I said, no problem. I heard there's a park here. Let me go to the park. And when I got to the park, I started to cry because it was so beautiful. And I said to myself, I have this beautiful garden in my backyard, and I don't have to pay a gardener.
See, a positive. How cool is that?
Yeah, very cool. And this takes us back to what we were talking about, the gratitude, and to identify for ourselves that it's not enough to find fault with what we don't want. We must choose to identify what we do want. And a lot of times we don't know what the opposite of where we're at is, but we could say, I will be so happy. And that way you're telling the universe, give me something that I will be happy about. So when you encounter something that you don't necessarily know the exact opposite, then take a moment and just say, okay, I choose an outcome for this situation that I'm going to be so happy about. When I was struggling and trying to find an assistant, I kept saying, I'm thanking the universe for finding me someone as good as Kim, or better. And 6 months later, Kim came back to work for me. So, the universe answers our prayers. And I could have just complained, I can't find a good person. I can't find somebody who does what my old assistant did. You could propose it that way. But I would walk by that empty desk and just say, okay, I'm so grateful that I'm getting a person that's as good as or better. And it's so funny, she's probably better than she was before.
How gorgeous. The thing is, Maureen, I've learned that if I put that negative out, well, that's what I'm asking for. If I cannot find an assistant, well, okay, I can't find an assistant because I'm not phrasing things in the right way. So to look to put it in the positive. Absolutely.
Because what we say is what we think, and what we think is what we believe, and what we believe is what we embody. So it isn't just the fact that we're saying, quote, the right word or the wrong word. It's more about being really clear about what we want. And for example, in our current situation in the US, I'm very clear with people, do not pray for this outcome or that outcome. Pray for an outcome that is so amazing that you're thrilled, because you and I might not know the best outcome for us. And there's a lot of things going on behind the curtain, that some of which we know about and some of which we don't. And so I'd rather claim my power and then offer it up as a divine choice. And at the same time, I'm not willing to abdicate my power. So I'm not just going to say there's nothing that can be done. I can't do anything. This is a problem. And it's just like when I tell people, when you drive by a car accident or you see someone stopped and the police are trying to help them, you say a little prayer for everybody involved, so that whatever it is, the paramedics, the doctors, the family, the injured person, whatever it is that's going on, they get something because you saw them and did a little prayer for them. Why not? So
I love your story about when you were caught in traffic and you called on the dragons to clear the traffic for yourself and everybody else concerned. Wow, how powerful was that?
It was amazing. And what was so interesting about that circumstance, this was in Seattle, and we were in a service road, not a service road, but a parallel road to a freeway. So there were like 6 lanes of freeway, and then there were 4 lanes of the road we were on. And it was just jammed with people. And the freeway that we could see next to us was like a parking lot. And when I asked the dragons to step in and help, we started moving and all the lights stayed green. It was amazing. And the capstone, of course, was my husband saying, I have never seen all these lights be green like this on this street in my entire life. And I've been here like 20 years. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
You call the dragons to help you solve stuff. And nowadays, I get in the car and I ask the dragons to take over the driving right away. Dragons, please take over the driving. And what happens then is it's like everything is greased, it's slippery. So people who want to get in front of me, the dragons kind of direct me to, and it's almost subconscious. They slide right in. It's easy. And when I need to get in, I slide right in. It's easy. And it's so cool.
Right.
Yeah. So dragons are pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And it comes back to, what suits us. Anaya has been writing in comments. She's loving what you're saying. And she was saying how prayer is so powerful. And I know when she has taught me that when I get into the car, or she's reminded me to ask for my own and everybody else's safety on the road. And how cool is that? May I have a smooth and safe journey, and may others on the road be the same.
Okay, so here's something new that we haven't talked about. You have often heard me say, asking for a day of heaven on earth. And I always like to close with that when people say, well, do you have any parting comments? I would say, yeah, ask for a day of heaven on earth. And of course, the second part of that is for me and everyone I come in contact with. So I have a membership group, and I encourage anyone to join my membership group. And oh, by the way, I have wonderful trained Akashic Records guides. So if you're interested in having an Akashic Records reading, please go to my site and check out the guides. We have such amazing, talented people. And starting August 1st, we're going to start featuring some new guides. So we'll have a special with the new guide for a couple of weeks, and then a new guide will come on board in another 2 weeks. So you're going to be amazed, truly amazed. These people I am in awe of their gift. Okay, so getting back to my story of a day of heaven on earth. So in my membership group, one of the women was saying how her sister is a drama queen.
Mhm.
And we were going to get, she tells a story, I'll just move to first person. We were going to get together for a family get together. We'd rented a big house, you know, someplace nice like the Hamptons, and everyone was going to show up and we are just going to party for about 5 days. But my sister always, you know, spoils it. She's such a drama queen. So I started asking for a week of heaven on earth for our family reunion. And she says, I started doing this 3 months in advance. And she said, about 3 days before we were all going to leave to go there, my sister calls and said, she's not coming. Well, you know, the family drama, you're not coming. You know, everybody has to be there, right? But then she says, I'm checking myself into a detox facility. Okay, so there's this defiance, right? But it's perfect because now they don't have to worry about her because she's in a detox facility. And she said, we had the best time. So any of you who do have a trip planned, you know, fingers crossed that you get to do it, and you know, calling the angels and all of that. There is some travel that people are doing. So if you're doing a trip of any kind, particularly in August, it's a wonderful time to have a nice, lovely trip. Ask for a week or 2 weeks, whatever your trip length is, of heaven on earth for me and my partner or me and my friends when we go rafting or whatever it is you're going to do. And you will be astounded at how everything will fall together for you with grace and ease. And so that's a lovely new tool in your toolbox.
It is. You're reminding me, Maureen, that we have so much support. We have support here on earth. We also have support from the angelic realms. And it's simply a matter of asking, isn't it? So often we can become so immersed, if you like, in our own drama. We forget to take the step back and, you know, what is it that we can do to assist ourselves?
Right, exactly. And it is also true that we need to ask. If you don't ask, you might get help, especially depending upon your own, you know, connection with the angels. But the law of free will requires our choosing every day what we will do. And I asked the angels one time, well, you know, why can't you just say, okay, God, I'm in, you know, send your angels every day. I'm going to stay on the side of the light for the rest of my life. And I heard them say to me, well, honey, when we got married 10 years ago, I told you I loved you. Nothing has changed. And I burst out laughing because I knew perfectly well they were making fun of me and helping me see, you know, if you were in a marriage for 10 years and never said I love you from the day you started till now, you're going to think there's a big problem here. And so I instantly understood because when I was married, my husband and I said, I love you all the time. You know, a day didn't go by. If a day went by without saying it, either he was sick or I was sick or one of us was in trouble. You know, so that I love you business was a commitment, a choice. I'm choosing to be here with you. And so when we ask the angels, even if we just say, I love you, angels, I'm so grateful you're in my life, that's the commitment that you tell the universe, I'm on the side of the light. So it is a useful reminder. What I like to do is tell people, you know, do a morning prayer. Do a simple morning prayer. I have a very sweet, simple morning prayer that I can share with you because it's in this book, Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality. And it's super short. And it just goes like this. I ask for the full expression of my highest self to be ever present with me this day. I ask for the masters, teachers, and guides of me to be ever present with me this day, and I ask that they be given full access to my 4 lower bodies. I offer myself in humble service and gratitude to the Great White Brotherhood and the legions of 100% white light and all beings of 100% white light who are here working with me. I ask that this divine guidance assist me and allow me to pursue my soul's highest purpose in this lifetime with the most evolved appearance possible and that expresses in the kindest and most generous and gentle way. Amen. So, take a few minutes and make some kind of, prayer. Even if it's, dear God, I'm in. I'm with you.
Well, it can be as simple as we like. Now, you have written books, you have CDs, all available on your website, MaureenSt.Germain.com. And I know, Maureen, that you consistently offer a freebie. And so it's worth people checking out regularly because you always change what you offer. You are incredibly generous as well as being very learned, and that's why I love having you on here, because you have such wisdom and offer so much to all of us. I thank you for all that you offer, and I ask that people who might be listening, seeing you for the first time, explore all that you offer via MaureenSt.Germain.com.
Thank you. Yeah, and check out the blog post, because if you sign up for the blog post, then you'll get a notice when I put out something new. And I usually do it once a month.
Now, you were mentioning the courses on Akashic records. Of course, they're fascinating, aren't they? Because they can inform us as to what past lives and also what might be in store.
Yes, and the Akashic Records online courses, we started what we call a fast track, 4x4, 4 days, 4 days, 4 hours each day, and you now, have the ability to read for others. It's astounding. And what I absolutely love about Zoom is it allows me to teach live, but at the same time, we're all in our space, wherever that is. And
Yes.
then the really cool part out, and this is just like just a cool part of Zoom, is that they have breakout rooms. And my darling assistant, Kim, loves doing this breakout room business because she assigns people their rooms, and they it's like pushing a button, beam me up, Scotty. And they're suddenly pushed to another room with their partner, to practice. And then they're given a certain amount of time. Now, when I was in a live class, I'd say, okay, everybody come back. But by the time they've read for somebody and they realize they're doing pretty good, then they want to chat and make new friends, Boy, we have so much control. We push them back into the main. It's hilarious, but it's so much fun because everybody gets so much out of it because we can keep it really tight. There's no coffee breaks. There's no stopping to go visit with someone. That's all done after class. We really march people on. It's so much fun. And because we go so intensely, people are super focused and they stay really present. And that sometimes is even easier than, the normal where people are kind of half there and looking at their phones and, sending texts. Well, you're trying to talk. They can, there's so much going on. They can't possibly pull it all off. So they just let everything else go and stay focused. And it's really amazing.
So that's something that has grown out of being created thanks to the pandemic.
Yes, and I've been teaching online classes for a long time, but I never did it with camera. So this is a much more really alive version. We all have, for, I don't know, the last 30 or 40, maybe longer years, we've been using our cell phones or our landlines to communicate with people. And I remember when one of my friends said, you need to start using FaceTime. And I was so uncomfortable on camera, looking at her, looking at me, and, that kind of business. And gosh, we have all changed so much.
Absolutely. Yes. And the fact that people can take part in your classes, no matter where they are in the world. So somebody in the UK can be teaming up with somebody in the US or Australia. It's a fabulous idea. Really.
My last class, I had a lady from India, a lady from Germany, a lady from the UK, a couple of people from the US. I mean, there were 30 people, but we had people from all over.
Yeah.
Totally true.
Yeah. No.
And they love it too, because they go, wow, I just had a conversation with a person from,
Yes.
Sweden or something. Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that I've had so much travel before this started. So I have so many friends in so many places that are familiar with my work and want to jump in and do these classes. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Cool. So the pandemic has given us so many gifts.
Yes, and what I would also offer is that those people who have lost their jobs or lost their businesses from it, that we need to keep them in our prayers as well, and to ask for um, the highest and best outcome. Now, one of the things I saw that you put in your, things we might be talking about is why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
And it is my opinion that the pandemic is not what we're being told it is, that it's not as bad, and that we're wearing masks so that everyone will stay afraid, which I think is unfortunate. I don't believe that the masks are. I better be careful here. I don't want your show to get thrown off.
But it is only our own opinion. I think I'm on the same page.
Yeah,
So
I'm not. I'm going to stop there. But you guys who are listening,
they know.
yeah, yeah. So I encourage all of you to find out as much as you can about self-care and about what you need to do to be safe and to take care of yourself and to stay positive and to not tap into that fear energy. The fear and worry grid has been cleared. And so they have to keep pumping it out in order to get people to be afraid. And it's simply not happening.
Mm.
So we are fortunate that we can count our blessings from this situation. And most of us who have been working at home have been very fortunate that we could keep working at home. And that's one of the big blessings.
Mm. Yes, I know here in Australia, because it's a school term, some families are finding it incredibly difficult, especially if the parents themselves are working and they're trying to homeschool at the same time. Again, it's really important that we look at the positives, and I know that at times that can be very tricky, uh, to know that it's giving parents more of an idea of what their children are doing at school. So often, children go off to school and at the end of the day say, oh, well, what have you done? And they might be blasé, they might go into a lot of detail, but this way, parents can see what is actually happening with their children.
And
And
they get to control the environment, a lot of things happen in the school. Maybe they're taught things that we don't believe, and we don't know that they've been taught that. There could be things happening like bullying and unfair treatment. That comes to a complete stop if you're at home. So, all those things that you're just describing about the homeschooling situation is very, very true. And it is tricky. Even if you don't have a child in school and you have a preschooler, that's even a little more nuts, Um, yeah, so I am so grateful for how well people are handling this. I find in where I live, I find that people are extraordinarily gracious and kind. Are you okay? The other day I stopped to catch my breath and I was fine, but I was a little winded. And a woman who was walking in the other direction looked at me and said, are you okay? Do you need help?
mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
Yes.
To be in a place where you're not rushing somewhere, you can't stop and help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. To see families out riding bikes, on scooters, walking as a group.
Yes. And that reminds me, one of the people that I work with in my Ascension Institute, my year-long program, She has a large family. They're all young adults, 18 and above, in college or just finishing college. And she said it's the first time in a long, long time that everybody's home for all the meals, and all of they get to be with their father more. And father's working from home, and she's, doing her thing. And she's been a busy little bee trying to look after everybody. And then she used a knife and cut her finger. And so she could not do all the meal preparation. But, her kids are young adults. They will take it over. And it was so sweet for her to see them do that. And,
yes.
They wanted to help. And they wanted to look after each other. And she said, one of her kids was at one school, and they didn't spend a lot of time together, but now they're palling around together because they really aren't allowed to be with other kids as much, so they're getting to know each other as young adults. And so she says, I don't want to sound selfish, but I'm so happy that I have my family all together here, and that we have space, and that it all works. So yeah.
And I know, Maureen, other people are finding creative ways of celebrating with the family, and so birthdays aren't as they were planned. I know, especially the special celebrations. However, people have realised that they can be creative with FaceTime, and how fortunate are we to have the technology that we have? And
right.
So people have said, oh, well, yes, it was different, and however, so much fun. Families can play games.
Right. And well, my sons have been playing games online with each other for years, forever. And,
right.
But one of my family members had the graduation ceremony, and everybody came. So there was like 30 or more people at the event, and everybody had a chance to talk and say something. And I thought, I don't think we would have had this level of communication without, being in this kind of environment. So it was very cool.
And I do like the way that we're encouraging people to look on the positives, to find the little golden nuggets.
I agree. And so we want to pray for a happy resolution to all the drama we have in the US, especially, and all over the world. And that's partly why this Nation of Inspiration meditation to the Goddess Liberty is so powerful. Yeah. And one other thing I want to share, you talk about some of my freebies. Another freebie I have on my website, and I've had this there for a long time, but if you've never seen it or haven't heard about it, I'd highly recommend you check it out. And that is Divine Government meditation. It's 8 minutes long, and it basically calls in the light for every leader in every country all over the world.
Well, how timely is that? Because our leaders, they are doing their best, and we all have a role to play, whether we realise it or not. We've incarnated in this time to learn certain lessons, and so
to help, also to be part of the solution.
Sorry?
And to be part of the solution.
Right. Yes.
A lot of people are here to be part of the solution. They're not here to learn lessons. And that's a real shock to people. What am I here to learn? And in the records, they get told, you're not here to learn anything. You're here to maybe get familiar, to learn the environment, but you're here to be a way shower. You're here to be part of the solution. So quit worrying about what you're supposed to learn and step up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, like what you do, you're doing the radio show. You're helping people by getting the word out and making a sweet environment for people to learn and hear a real, like, let's have coffee kind of conversation. It's awesome.
We're very fortunate, and I'm very grateful to Anaya for encouraging me to step up onto Facebook, because it's so much nicer being able to see my guests, to be able to see you rather than simply hear each other's voice.
Right. I agree. Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
And also then to have the interaction with people who might be listening, which is really lovely too. And I like the fact, Maureen, that like your meditations, because we're able to record, people can listen later. So, and watch later. The first time I saw the term watch party, I wondered whether people were selling watches. I had no idea that it meant
I've never heard
gather a group and watch a particular video.
What a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. It's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah. So, have you done any travel? I actually did do some travel 2 weeks ago. I went out to Glacier National Park, and I also went out to the state of Washington and visited my grandchildren and son and daughter-in-law, which was great fun. So, and it was very interesting.
You're very fortunate because you're still able to travel. Because I live in Victoria and our cases are out of control, it would seem. We're like the outcasts, if you like, from the rest of Australia. So that's fascinating in itself. I was really fortunate. I went to India in March and got back just before the lockdown. So I feel very fortunate. And obviously at the moment, I'm meant to be in my home state, concentrating on me and what I can do over the internet to share with others.
Yes, because you're quite the traveler yourself.
Yes. So very interesting. Yes, I was to go sail up the west coast of Norway in November. I can see myself shifting home rather than doing that. Isn't it interesting, again, how the universe looks after us and we are where we're meant to be, even though it's somewhere totally different to what we might have envisaged.
Right. It's true. It's very true. You know, I moved into a new home a year ago, and I remember when things started to get a little dicey and we were looking at the timing. We hadn't found the right place, you know, and we were thinking we're going to run out of time to get the closing and everything done before the renewal, and maybe we should just renew for another year. And I remember going in the records and asking, you know, well, maybe we should just put it off for another year so we have a little more time and we can be a little more gracious. And I got absolutely not. And then I was told, and you're going to find the apartment you're looking for next weekend. And I thought, okay, fine, whatever. You know, at that point, I wasn't exactly convinced, but we did, and everything fell into place. And I was actually out of the apartment we were renting a good 10 days, maybe 15 days before my lease ran out. So it gave me time to get the move going and to be gracious about it. And then, you know, we started a renovation in the place we moved into. And this is kind of funny. We were 99% done when lockdown occurred. And we actually had guys in the bathroom getting ready to install our new bathroom sink and cabinet when there was a knock on the door and the doorman said, you guys have to leave. And, you know, it was no official notice. It was just like, tell everybody, get the heck out. And then our bathroom sink, which was in the hallway, lived in the hallway for 6 months. I laughed about it. I said, just leave something on my kitchen sink or on my bathroom sink, you know, to the doorman as a joke, you know. I've got a shelf outside my door. You can just put stuff there. It's funny. I did have a sink. I wasn't completely without a sink. They were very nice and put in a temporary sink when they started the construction because they knew it was going to be a while before everything got finished. So anyway, I was so grateful that they were far enough along that we could, enjoy it and have almost everything done. So I feel very blessed, and I tell people, when you learn to check in with your higher self, it is such a powerful tool. Because then you're going to, as you say, be exactly where you need to be without a struggle, without any hassle at all. Yeah.
Yes, we can make our lives easier for ourselves if we remember to ask and then to trust as well. I mean, that can be big.
Yeah. Trusting is a really big thing for people. Yeah, and it's going to be even harder for people because we're being given so much information that we know is suspect. We hear stuff and we think, wait a minute. But then we think, well, CNN said it must be true. And I'm here to tell you, think again, trust your own guidance before you trust those guys with the microphone. And I think that's probably one of the most important messages I could give you as a observer or listener. The guys with the big mics and the pretty clothes and the gals that are telling you what to think or how to think probably have a different agenda than what you have. You need to really scope it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I honestly believe that this time is asking us, as you have just said, to listen to our own inner guidance and to trust what we believe in our heart. We've got somebody, Electra, well done, fantastic. Step up, divine government and liberty meditation. Thank you so much. Faith and trust rocks.
So what's next? Where do we go from here? And I think the answer is that we ask continually for the most evolved outcome possible. And that each and every person is able to think for themselves and to be kind towards everyone else. The hardest thing is for people to make a space for somebody who hasn't fit in. And we're all learning how important that is so that we can be kind to everyone and express kindness.
Yes.
So I'm grateful that we have so many opportunities to love and admire. I came across a magazine post on Instagram, and they were so sweet when they said, with everything that's going on, we took a hard look at what we're doing, and we don't think we've given enough play to the Black designers and the brilliance of these creative people. And so we're dedicating this issue to really bringing that out and giving more visibility to that. And it was done in such a sweet way because they said, we looked at ourselves, we thought, we could do better. We could do better. And I think that that's the message for all of us. We can do better. And so now when something happens that I don't like, this actually happened to me the other day. Some guy pulled his car into the garage and blocked me, and I couldn't get out of the car. But I kind of opened the window and said, could you guys, tell him to move? He's blocked me and he came in after me. He can wait his turn. And he said, just keep your shirt on. And I said, I would like to think he can do better. You do better. I do better. Let's all step up and say, you know what? We can do better. We can do better. So, it's an opportunity for each of us to do better than what we've done before.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And to respect each other. We will have differing points of view, and that's okay. It's it doesn't mean that there has to be a wedge in a friendship. It's simply, and by having different points of view, we're offering a different point of view. As you know, we have become conditioned to certain ways of thinking, of certain ways of acting, and all of a sudden we're being given this opportunity to look and think, oh, maybe there is a different way.
Yes. And you know, there's belief that the parents that are so strict with their children, that the children grow up and rebel from what the parents were hoping to espouse on them. And I'm looking around going, I think we see a little bit of that going on with our government. And I hope and pray that people step up and can, you know, can help all of us see and understand how we can be part of the solution.
Mm-hmm. Well, Maureen, that seems a very, very lovely thought to maybe close this wonderful conversation on. I so appreciate your time, and I thank everybody, whether you are watching live or you watch later or listen later via Blog Talk Radio. Please use this time to become the best that you possibly can be. You know, give out love and kindness. We feel so much better, Maureen, don't we, when we're living in kindness?
We do. And it doesn't take much to change our mindset. And if you're afraid or you don't know how to change your mindset, just say a prayer to your angels. All right, I'm ready to find out if I'm being negative or not. And tell me, you know, when I'm being negative. And your angels will bust you. And when they do, you'll laugh because you were busted. And then you get to do a reframe. So, you know, if you don't like the neighborhood, the way things are, you know, you don't complain about it. Just say, well, what can I do to make it sweeter? Or what can I do to help uplift the environment, myself, or to help somebody else? And find a way to be proactive and positive. And it'll happen. It'll happen because that's what we put out. And as you said at the beginning, we seed what we receive.
We do. Now, audience, please, if you haven't visited Maureen's website before, give yourself a treat. www.Maureen St Germain, Germain, we can see it on the screen, .com. And if you're drawn to swim with the whales, is that on your website, Maureen? I know you've sent out invitations.
Yeah, I did send out invitations. If you're interested, you just should email me either at info or Kim or Maureen at Maureen St Germain. Info is easy enough. And we will give you information right away. Yeah, and Akashic Records coming up.
Yes, you've got so much.
I'm very happy about that. And
yes.
So, you know, join us in our membership programs or our annual program. That's very wonderful. It would be a real pleasure to get to know you and to get to work with you.
It's been a pleasure. And people, you have about half an hour before Anaya Joy Lily and Carol Ann Cross are here. They always follow my program about 30 minutes later. So it's great. You can go and stretch your legs, find another posse and sit down and take in what they have to say. Maureen, what I love too about having this on platform is that people can be doing other things while we're in the background, a bit like listening to the radio. It's simply on Facebook, which is fantastic. So we are blessed, aren't we?
We really are. Thank you. And I'm so blessed to know you and to play with you.
It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Have a day of heaven on earth.
Thank you. And I do want to say, everybody, next week on Wednesday, I'm going to have a program with Rosemary Butterworth. So I'm back twice next week. How exciting is that?
Awesome.
Catch you then. Bye-bye.